Good morning. So today we are going to get started on our meal prep. I'm just gonna kind of have this here throughout the next couple hours. I think it'll only take 2 hours to prep all of this, but we are ready. So let me show you my setup just so you can kind of see how I get started. So I've got the crock pot over here ready to go for the pork that we're making, which I don't think I actually posted that, but I make something in the crock pot while I make all the other food so that we can eat something different the night of. Got my meat going. Forgot to thaw it last night, so I just took it out of its water. Got the pot for the taco bowls. I use this big wok to make the taco meat. It fits the 4 pounds. I sometimes do 5 pounds, but it can do 4 pounds really nicely of ground turkey. Pot going for the noodles. I've already got my water in there, getting ready to boil. Oven's preheating. Here I've got my peppers for the taco bowls and peppers for the spaghetti bowls. The turkey meatballs, I've got another bag to put on there, but I want to just kind of show you those. Here we go. Got the pork. Got my 2 Instant Pots. Got the big one for the chicken, the little one for the rice. And then I've got all my meal prep containers ready to go. We do have different sizes. I use these bigger ones. I'm not really sure what the ounces are, but I use these for Simon, that's my fiance, for his dinner, or typically I guess his lunch, because it'll have a carb and a protein and a vegetable. And then we'll use these, which is a little bit smaller, for either my lunch or his dinner, because we don't do carbs at night. At least we try not to. And then these smaller ones are going to be for me or for Simon's breakfast. So that's the setup. You can see that there is a lot of coordination going on, but that's what we got to do to try to make this quick. So I'm going to get my coffee out of the microwave because we'll be here for a while. So the first thing I'm going to do is get the pork ready. So probably need a bowl. Also try to clean up as I go, just because it can be a lot and overwhelming when you're done to try to clean everything up from prepping for a whole week. So I try to clean up as we go. Oh no! Phone down. Y'all, it's my first one ever, so bear with me. Okay, the pork. I didn't buy any chicken broth at the store because, well, it was very crazy at the store and I was a little overwhelmed just by everyone's mania and hysteria. But you can just do the pork in the crock pot with water and seasoning. As far as what seasoning, I do have a good variety in my pantry, and I just kind of pick whatever I feel that day. Don't worry, y'all, I washed my hands. I'm just gonna take this pork, make sure it doesn't need to be separated at all. And then for the meat bags, I try to put those in plastic bags before I put them in the trash. Otherwise, your trash will be very smelly. So I've got one here. Put it in here. You go ahead and tie it up right away. Get that out of the way. I'll wash my hands. There's a lot of hand washing throughout this because you're constantly changing up what you're doing, what you're touching, all that kind of stuff. All right, so seasoning. I think I'm gonna get some salt and pepper. And then, I kind of want to have a taco vibe. We like Mexican a lot, so a lot of what I do is ends up having some type of flavor that's you would find in a taco, although you can find many things in a taco today. I'm gonna use this Southwestern Sizzle. I know that'll be backwards, but it's just this seasoning I have. It's already mixed up. It's got seasoned salt, chili powder, cumin, paprika, cilantro, garlic powder, oregano, cayenne pepper, and onion powder already in it. So I got this at just like a market somewhere. You're actually supposed to mix it with cream cheese and make a dip, but we don't really buy cream cheese unless Simon's in a bagel kick. He goes through his different moods of what he wants to eat. And currently we are not on the bagel kick, so we don't have cream cheese. I'm gonna put this all over. I'm actually not gonna put regular salt because this has salt in it. I'm just getting it nice and seasoned. Really coating it well. What I'm gonna do when this is done is shred it, hopefully. And then maybe we eat it over like spinach or something like that. Pepper. One question I always get is, how do you know how much seasoning to put on? It's really hard to put in words for me with how to answer that, because I go based on my feel just from doing this often and frequently and for a while now. But really you can't go wrong except for the salt, or if you're using a like hot spice. But you can also kind of smell it as well. So I'll show you what it looks like here. Put it away. I try to keep myself organized by putting things away. Otherwise it's a mess. Alright, so here it is. You can see it's coated all the way around, just enough that it looks like it'll be pretty good. You might have to add more when it's finished as you're eating, but oh, here comes Simon. But as long as you get some spice in there for it to cook into the meat, then you're good. Alright, set you down. Into the crock pot we go. And then I'm going to add about a cup of water in here as well for it to cook in. So in the crock pot, I use these crock pot liners just for easy cleanup. With prepping a lot of food, you want to be cleaning as minimally as possible. So I get these crock pot bags. This is just the Kroger brand. You can buy any store brand. But you just cook it as normal, but your bag is going to contain all of the dirt that comes out, or the, I guess not dirt, but seasoning and residue from the meat. So let's cook this on low for probably like, we'll just do 8 hours. That should be good. Okay, so now onto the turkey meatballs. So I've got the oven preheated at 350 degrees. Essentially what I do is I try to put everything that needs to cook while I'm doing other things in, and then I can move on. So these are the turkey meatballs we have. They're just from Kroger. They're pre-cooked. I don't buy a lot of pre-cooked stuff, but anything to make it go faster, and Simon really doesn't care. These are mainly for him. So I'm just gonna put these here. 2 bags. So these little bags are 24 to a bag. The big bag gets you, I think, 50. And I normally buy this big bag, but when we went to Kroger, it was not available because everyone bought it all. So I bought just 2 of these little bags, and to get what I need. But I put 10 of these meatballs, again, pre-cooked turkey meatballs, per container. So these are for Simon. I don't really eat the spaghetti. Sometimes I'll steal one, but usually it's all him. So these are 350 degrees for, I think it's 18 minutes I do? Yeah, 18 minutes. It's 15 to 20. I usually go in the middle. Just put them in. Set the timer. That's going. Next, I'm going to throw my fettuccine in. So I've got my water boiling. Put a little bit of salt in the water. Not really sure what it actually does, but you can Google it. Today we have gluten-free via fettuccine. Again, something we don't normally buy, but it's always available at the store. So just some type of pasta. This whole box will make what I need for the week. So I'm going to put the whole box in. And this is to go with the turkey meatballs. Try to have things finished about the same time so that whenever it's ready to go into the meal prep container. Oh, hi, Christina. When it's ready to go in the meal prep container, then they can go in there together, cool together, and then go from there. So fettuccine's in. I just kind of pressed the pasta down. I think it's gluten-free, so it's a little bit longer cooking. I think it's 13 minutes. So I will set my timer. I think it's important to set timers. Don't assume that you can remember because there's a lot going on and you will forget. You will burn something. I have done it. Or you'll boil over. This will probably end up boiling over. It usually happens. So fettuccine's in, turkey meatballs are in, pork is in. Now I'm going to move to the Instant Pots. So I use the Instant Pots really to just cook the simple things while I'm prepping other things and just kind of working on the stovetop or in the oven. You can make full meals in the Instant Pot, but I just don't use it that way right now. So first we're going to get our rice for the taco bowls. How much rice? I usually I did 2 cups for myself. So the rice is for the taco bowls. I usually do 2 cups of dry rice if it's just for me. And then that gets me about half a cup cooked per container for 5 days. If you want to do it for you and somebody else, or you want more than that, just kind of feel it out. You know, maybe make 3 cups, maybe make 2.5. But if I make too little or too much, then I just adjust, and it's not going to kill me if I have more rice than normal or less rice than normal. So I usually put coconut oil in the bottom of my Instant Pot with the rice. You can use regular oil, or like, you could use butter, I guess, if you wanted to, but I use coconut oil. And then I'll set it to keep warm so it'll melt. I'm going to keep this out because I'll use it in a little bit. So I put the coconut oil, just like a teaspoon, in the bottom of the Instant Pot, and I turned it on keep warm so that it'll melt. I'll go ahead and measure out my rice. So I think it's just going to be me having rice this week, so I'm going to do 2 cups of wet rice. I'm sorry, dry rice. You know what I mean. And put that away. It'll take a second for the rice to melt. And then in the big Instant Pot, or the coconut oil, you know what I meant. In the big Instant Pot, I'm going to do chicken. So I need another bowl. I mentioned it on the page, but we change up what seasoning we use. Sometimes I'll cook it in some seasoning in the actual Instant Pot. Sometimes I'll just use salt and pepper. We use different sauces after the fact. Simon likes hot sauce. I'll usually do maybe barbecue sauce or salsa, whatever. But I mean, I have this Walden Farms. I don't have it in its container because it broke. And so it's I think it's like a lime vinaigrette, kind of. But it's really good. You can find it at Kroger, Target, wherever. And then I put it on after I cook it. So I'm gonna get the chicken in this bowl, and I'm just gonna season it with salt and pepper and get it ready while the coconut oil for the rice melts. So the nice thing about using the Instant Pot is that if you're like me and you forgot to thaw part of your meat, you can cook frozen chicken or frozen anything really in the Instant Pot. Lily's in the background playing with her toys, her favorite bones. So I think 2 of these chicken thighs are partially frozen, and then the other 2 will be good. What's up? What are you doing? Scissors. Make sure you wash your scissors as well after handling the raw meat. It's easy to kind of forget about that. I just do my best to not touch the meat until I'm ready to not touch anything else. I wash my hands. Again, I'm putting the stuff the chicken was in a sealed bag. I'm going to close it up and then throw it away to try to keep our trash from smelling bad. Although it is trash day. Alright, I'm going to go and wash my hands. Alright, so I'm just going to use salt and pepper today. I bet my rice is ready to go in, but I'm going to get this going first. So just kind of put some pepper all over. Same with the salt. Again, you can always add salt and pepper when you're ready to eat it if you don't get enough, or if you're like too scared you're going to put too much, to put a ton when you're cooking it. So don't stress so much about that. Really want to try to get all sides seasoned well. There we go. Alright, so that's ready to go in, but I'm actually going to go ahead and do the rice first so I can use my measuring cup again. Let me move you guys. Okay, so in the Instant Pot in the bottom, you see it's melted. Just kind of get it all coated. And then I take the rice. So equal cups rice to water. So I'm doing 2 cups of rice. So I'll need 2 cups of water. I do like to use chicken broth here instead of water, but like I said, I don't have any. So just kind of mix that up, and then we'll close it. There she is. Make sure it's sealing. A lot of times I actually forget and it's inventing. And then it's really nice because it actually has a rice setting, so I'll cancel this. This was just for my keep warm, so I can melt the coconut oil and then I'll hit rice. As you can see, it's got to come to pressure, and then it'll be about 12 minutes, and then I just kind of let this sit and naturally release. So with the chicken, you need at least 1 cup of water in the bottom of your Instant Pot for it to work. So I'm gonna just do the 2 cups, as long as it doesn't come up, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, doesn't come up and touch the chicken. So if we look in here, you can see that this metal part is still raised up above that water line, which is right there. so that when I place the chicken on the rack, it won't be touching the water, but I'll have enough for it to come to pressure and cook. So we'll go ahead and get this in here. And I just kind of set them on here evenly. These aren't that frozen. I fell asleep on the couch last night, as usual, and forgot to get the meat out of the freezer before I went to bed. So this morning, when I woke up, I think it was like 7 o'clock, I came down and quickly got the meat out of the freezer and put them in like a water bath. And then that's what I'll usually do, and then leave them in the fridge overnight, but I just left them on the counter so that they'd have for a couple hours so that they would thaw. All right, so look in here. So the way I lay the chicken, I just kind of lay it evenly across. If you even stack it up a little bit more than that, I've done about, I think, 6 chicken breasts, maybe 7 at a time in here. It's got lots of space. All right, so the big one here is going to be for the chicken. And if you don't know what time to do it for, there's lots of tools out there you can look based on their weight. I'm gonna do pressure cook. I think these will probably be like 20 minutes. And if it's a little bit long, it's fine. Pressure, high pressure. I don't want any delay. You can see that. And then keep warm. I'm gonna actually turn that off, because I don't need it to stay warm after. And then I'll hit start, so it'll come up to pressure. You can see it down here. And then with the chicken, it's really helpful to let it naturally release. It gets really tender if you do that. Hey, thanks Ruth for my apron. I've had this for a while. Yep, I do actually wear it, because who knows what I will get on myself. So before I go further, I'm gonna stir the pasta real quick for the spaghetti we talked about. Make sure it's separating. I guess it's technically fettuccine, but tomato. All right. Put that back on. I'm gonna go ahead and wash these couple things real quick, or maybe I'll put the big bowl in the dishwasher. Like I said, I just don't, it stresses me out if it's all just sitting here dirty. The next thing we're gonna do, I've already got my green peppers separated for the ground turkey. So I went ahead and cleaned them, and I don't know that you actually need to take the seeds out, but I like to. I don't like to cook with those. I know that with like jalapenos you have to, or that's where you'll get a lot of spice. But with just green peppers, I don't know, probably not a big deal. So I went ahead and separated them. So with the taco bowls, I've got 4 pounds of ground turkey. So you're gonna use 4 medium-sized green peppers. Mine were really large, so I only have 3 large green peppers, but rule of thumb is 1-to-1 ratio. And then I forgot to buy, I've been buying these frozen green peppers that I use in Simon's spaghetti. And then they can actually cook in the oven with the pre-cooked taco bowls, but I forgot to buy them. Or not taco bowls, turkey meatballs. So I forgot to buy them. So I cut up a couple more green peppers to put with his taco bowls, just to make sure he's got a vegetable. Yeah, I'm gonna put this bowl in here. And we can actually run this. If you don't know me, I really enjoy when you can do a lot of things at once, because I just like to be efficient. So if I can run the dishwasher while I'm doing cooking, it should be done almost by the time I'm ready to put everything away. Couple dishes are washed. My timer for my fettuccine went off, so I actually need to get a stool to get my strainer. So I'll take the strainer, put it in the bottom of the sink, turn my timer off so it doesn't keep yelling at me, and then we'll go ahead and dump the fettuccine. I really don't mind if it gets cold because this is meal prepping. We're not cooking this for eating right now. Take the lid off. Always remember these. I burn myself a lot because I forget. Dump it. I'm gonna move this pot over on a little trivet because I'm gonna need this space on the stovetop here in a minute. So fettuccine is in the sink, draining. I'm just gonna let it be. I'm actually gonna get another trivet out for the turkey meatballs. So I just have these. They're from IKEA. I think they were like $1. But I think you can put hot things on certain stones, but I'm not sure about granite, and so just to be safe, put it on there. So for the taco balls, I went ahead and cut up the onions, just diced them up. I used about 1/3 of one white onion. You can use a whole one if you really like onions. Simon does not like onions, so we use just enough to get a little bit of flavor in it, but not enough that he can really tell it's there. Or maybe he can tell it's there and I don't know it. So the small bowl is going to be my peppers for the spaghetti bowls. So I'm going to go ahead and dice these up. I went ahead and cut them up, but I'm going to dice them. Our friends Cindy and Jack got us this really cool food processor that you could use to dice these up really fast. I just ran out of counter space, so I'm going to use my hands and a knife to do it. I actually will post in the Instant Pot page the link to it, what they got us. It's a Black & Decker dicer and it's really cool. I did a lot of sweet potatoes in about 10 minutes, where I borderline give myself carpal tunnel when I normally do sweet potatoes but by hand. So we definitely get a lot of use out of it. If you didn't know, we're moving, so I'm looking forward to having more counter space. I can have more things sitting out, but we make do with what we have. Turkey meatballs are done. Out and let them cool. Haven't decided if I'm gonna like saute these for the spaghetti, put them in raw. Simon, what do you want? Do you want them cooked a little bit?
For what?
For your spaghetti bowls, the green peppers, or do you want them raw? He said whatever is easier. So, I don't know. I've never oven roasted green peppers, but that might be an option. I do like with the green peppers, when I'm cooking, to have a variety of texture. So a green pepper raw obviously gives you a nice crunch. You know, it breaks. But if you cook them down, they get just like soft, which is good. But when you're prepping food, if it gets soft, there's potential that it'll get soggy by the time you eat it. So when I cook green peppers and even like zucchini's a big one, and try not to cook it down much, just enough it's cooked, and then I go ahead and throw it in because it'll get softer when you're cooking. So this is about the size, a little bigger than an inch for the spaghetti. I think I will pan saute those in a minute. All right, so now I'm going to do the green peppers for the taco bowls. So we have a lot more of those. And actually what I can do, so this is when I try to make things go a little bit fast. Let me turn you around to here. So while I am gonna cut the taco bowls, or the green peppers for the taco bowls, I'm going to go ahead and get this going because I don't actually add the green peppers until the meat's already cooked a good bit. So again, just using regular coconut oil from Kroger. You can use whatever you'd like. I'm gonna get these ground turkeys already open. As long as you have your onion cut in the meat, you can do this before you finish your green peppers. All right. So let me show you what we use for the seasoning. I need to use the second one. So I buy this low sodium taco seasoning. Let me put it around. You can see here, it's 40% less sodium. If you look on the back, it says to brown 1 pound of ground beef per 4 tablespoons of taco seasoning mix. So that's important because you can buy them in packets, which is really nice. If you don't know if you're gonna make this every week, you can buy these packets. Kind of like this one. It's like this size. This is for stir fry. This was okay. We didn't love it. But you can buy those packets, and the Kroger brand is like 39 cents a packet. But we make this literally every week. I think I've made it every week for a year and a half, maybe more. So it benefits us to buy this guy. Let me make sure the other one's open. They don't make the Kroger brand with less sodium in this big one. But it's still cheaper to just buy this. So while that coconut oil melts, let me show you what's going on at the Instant Pot. So if you can see the steam right here coming up, that's okay as long as it's in the sealed position. This bigger one here, Simon got this for me for Christmas 2 years ago. Yeah. It self-seals, so you don't have to actually move anything around. So no concern about that. But you can see it's preheating. It's coming up to pressure, so don't freak out if you got steam. It will have an air here, like lid, if your lid's not on and you see steam coming out of the sides, but coming out of this right here is okay. Here's the rice, so you can see it's in the sealed position. You actually have to move this back and forth. Sometimes I forget, and then it's in venting, and but you can recover. So this only has 4 minutes left, and then I'm just gonna let it naturally release. Naturally release means you just wait and let this guy here drop down on its own. So it just kind of naturally releases, and I'm okay with that. So coconut oil is melted. I'm going to coat it, and then I actually use garlic. old spoon. I buy this big old thing of minced garlic because I use a lot of it, and once upon a time when I started cooking, I used to mince my own garlic, and then I discovered this, and I have never done it again because it is not fun. So I just do probably about 2 of these in the center, and then I use a spoon to put the onions around it. So this is fragrant already, but we're cooking it until it becomes fragrant. So it doesn't really make sense, but if you notice the scent difference, it is different once it's cooking. Gonna have to turn the fan on here in a minute, so it's gonna get a little louder. But while that starts, I'm going to go ahead and get some of these cut up. You only have to cook the onions and garlic for maybe 2 minutes. You can do it a little bit longer, but if you cook it for too long, your garlic will burn, and then you can actually, that smell or that taste does come through in the taco bowl, so you don't want to do that. So these I'm going to also do at about 1 inch in size. We don't like them to be too small. If you want them to be diced smaller, please do. It's up to you. It's just not how we eat it. Do a time check while I'm here. We're only at 10:40, so doing pretty good. We've already got almost everything done for the spaghetti bowls. I just have to do something with the green peppers, which I'll probably start once the taco bowl is really cooking. We've got the chicken and rice going for the rice for my taco bowls. So for the taco bowls, I put mine over rice for lunch, and then I put Simon's over nothing for dinner, because like I said, at dinner time we're trying not to have carbs and just have that protein and the vegetable. So that's why you gotta have the green pepper in there. His lunch is gonna be the spaghetti, and my dinner is gonna be the chicken. And then once that chicken is ready, I've got broccoli, frozen broccoli bags, steamer bags to put in the microwave. I have done steamed vegetables in the Instant Pot, and they are good. However, if I want to do all of this at the same time, then I just buy the taco bags, or the steamer bags. So you can see it doesn't take a ton of time to cut up these peppers. Almost there. Almost there. This is probably the most time consuming of all the prep. Just cutting up vegetables. Now the breakfast omelets, or like breakfast scramble, we'll get to once things are kind of going. I used to do them in the oven, and I just really didn't like the way they came out, and so I actually make them one at a time, but I can do it while all this other stuff is cooking. Alright, so we got the green peppers, white bowls for spaghetti, silver bowl, tin bowls for the taco bowls. So they are ready to go. Get this guy. Mix up these onions and garlic. I gotta turn the fan on. Another good way to know when this is done is when your onions become translucent, meaning you can see through them. They're not as white. So you just really don't want that garlic to burn. So I'm pretty close to adding it. So what I'll do is, so those are at the bottom. My temperature is on medium now. I'll add 1 pound of ground turkey, and then I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of the seasoning mix it up, another pound, 4 tablespoons, mix it up all the way until I'm done. And then I just let it, cover it and let it cook while I'm doing other things. And then I'll come back to it, check it out, all that. If you didn't know, I'm from West Virginia. Got my West Virginia love. I forget about my coffee a lot, so I have to clean it up. But I never dump it out. Almost there. I'll show you what this looks like. Like I said, we're only 45 minutes in and we've done a lot so far. But it's all about kind of having a lay of the land, a plan of what you're going to do, and then just kind of doing it. So, time for the meat. I just take this lid completely off. Probably gonna have to go into my second one here. So, oh, let me show you this. So you can see here how translucent it is compared to a raw white onion. That garlic's got a nice little brown on it, but it's not burnt. So I just kind of flatten this out across the bottom. I don't want it in one big pile. And now here's where we start with the meat. There we go. Alright. So, oh, I need a bag. I need a trash bag. The only reason I get my groceries in these bags sometimes is for this reason. So, I went ahead and cut these so they're ready to go. I can just kind of fold this up myself and then use my spatula to get them out. Some of them are going to be a little tougher than normal because, as I said, I forgot to get them out of the freezer last night. So this morning we had a few hours of thaw time. Not as much as normal. I'm actually going to go ahead and try to break this meat up a little bit before I put the seasoning in. Funny story, the first time I ever really cooked spaghetti in college, it's my first apartment, so in the dorm you obviously can't cook a lot, but I wanted to cook spaghetti for my friend. So I get the meat out of the freezer and I pretty much put it right into the pan. So that did not work well and I couldn't figure out what the issue was. And then when I called my mom and asked her about it, she's like, well, did you thaw the meat? Didn't think about that. So, come a long way since then. So got my 4 tablespoons of seasoning. I'll show you what it looks like on the next one, but you can tell when it's getting mixed in with the meat. Right now, it's, you can see as it gets a little bit darker and gets moist that it's cooking in. I just try to get all the dry seasoning mixed in before I move on to my next one. I'll use this spatula up until I add the green peppers and then I switch to a clean one. But right now I'm still working with the raw food. We're using 93.7 ground turkey. It's just what's on our meal template that we use. You can, again, buy whatever you like. You can even buy ground beef if that's what you prefer. But it's got a lot of seasoning from the taco meat, so you really don't need, if you're looking for flavor, you don't need to get ground beef unless you really just want it. I've looked into buying the healthier ground beef, and it's more expensive than buying the ground turkey, so. Okay. So, this one is done. Let me show you what this looks like. So you can see here, if we look, the dry seasoning, and then if you look down here on the side, you can kind of see where it gets wet. That just tells you that it's being cooked in and mixed in. So I will mix this in and then I'll show you again what it looks like. really just trying to coat all the meat with some type of seasoning, because whenever we put this in our meal prep containers, it's all mixed in. You're just going based on weight. So if you don't have a food scale at home, you can go more based on the look of how full it is. But we have a food scale I bought from Bed Bath & Beyond a few years ago, and for like $20, and I use it every week. So here you can tell now, you can tell the difference of how it's all mixed in. All right, so we got 2 more pounds of meat. Try not to get that little paper in there. I really just try to get it in there without using my hands. Otherwise, I'll be washing my hands a lot. Two, 3, and 4. 4 tablespoons. Definitely easier if you remember to thaw the meat. And while you're doing this, the nice thing about the Instant Pot is if the chicken and the rice get finished, but you're not ready to do anything with it, they can just sit there. It's not like the oven. The Instant Pot will turn off the heat. If you have that keep warm function on, it will stay warm, but it's not going to overcook as if you'd left it in the oven. It'll just naturally release, and then when you're ready to do something with it, it's there for you. Oops. There you go. Your last little bit of meat. Again, put it in a bag, tie it, and throw it away. Four more tablespoons of the seasoning. It seems like a lot, but it's really not. And I'll actually read to you what's in this because I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. So this seasoning has, let's see, salt, paprika, chili pepper, garlic powder. Yeah, that's really it. So they also have a fajita one if you wanted to mix up the flavors a little bit. It's kind of like that seasoning I used on the pork. If you were not here for that, it was a pre-mixed seasoning I bought at a market that just sounded good and doesn't require me to buy all the individual ingredients and make it myself. Alright. So, meat is all mixed up. I'm going to leave it on medium heat, cover it, and let it cook. So it'll take a little while, but you can do other things, as we will, while it's cooking. Alright. Made a little bit of a mess. Just a little bit. Alright, so one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the fettuccine and the meatballs separated into the meal prep containers. So I just have, ooh, almost lost you. Okay, here we go. So we're just gonna do 1 cup of pasta. Might have to work with it a little bit since it's been sitting here. We do about a 1 cup. I can kind of eyeball this now in the actual meal prep container. It's kind of hard to put fettuccine in a measuring cup, but here we are, so it's about a cup. So this, I'm gonna use my bigger container and just kind of flatten it out in the bottom. So for the rest of these, I'm just gonna eyeball it. I go ahead and get my meal prep containers out. Just makes my life a lot easier instead of trying to get them out as I go. And then of course they need to sit and cool before you put the lids on them. So it makes that process a little bit easier too, because you've already got predefined space that they're sitting in. There we go. This gluten-free pasta is a little sticky. Normally we buy penne or like regular fettuccine. We like a little bit of a thicker noodle than spaghetti. There we go. Sometimes I do eat some of it along the way. For example, I know these meatballs, there will be exactly 2 extra. So those 2 extra usually end up in my stomach. There we go. Got one more. And then if I have leftover pasta, like, oh, I think, you know, each of these have a cup, but I got a little bit extra, I just evenly divide it. Like I said, world won't end. At least not from this. Alright, so since I'm cooking this for us to eat, I do use my hands a lot versus a utensil. If you're cooking it for others to eat, then maybe you want to use a fork. But I'm going to take this around to the other side, and like I said, I just put 10 meatballs per meal prep container. Here we are. So we'll just do 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So each bag is a little different. So we actually don't have any extra meatballs. That had 8, so now we have 2 that have 9. But you just make adjustments and go with it. I also use a parchment paper for this. Again, just easy cleanup, so I can just fold this up, throw it away, and then this is a lot easier to clean. So I do have a little bit of a dish buildup starting over here, but I don't have room to wash anymore, but at least I've got the majority. So this here, I'm going to turn you around, is the pasta sauce that we use. I accidentally bought chunky vegetable, but it's still the no sugar added version of the ragu, and one of these gets me through 5 meals for the week, and I'll put them in after we do the green peppers. You can have 2 of these last you through 5, but that's not the point, and you get a lot of extra calories and macros from sauces if you're not careful. So I just pre-measure it, and then if you just mix it up really well after you've heated it up, then it really will go a long way. So I'm not ready to do that yet. I think I'm going to saute these green peppers, check on my taco bowls, and then saute these peppers for the taco bowls, or the meat or spaghetti bowls, since they are the most finished. Alright, so got this little pan here with a lid. I am going to use this once we actually start the omelets, so we'll go ahead and get that rocking and rolling. So again, I use the coconut oil a lot. This does make me hungry, so usually I snack on things, and I'm disappointed that there's not extra turkey meatballs, but that's okay. So we'll just do a little bit medium-high on the heat. So I'm going to stir this meat over here for my taco bowls. Just make sure that you're swapping out the meat that's on the bottom so it doesn't get too brown. But 4 pounds of turkey meat really fits well in this wok. I could probably do 2 more pounds in here and then I would be at my capacity. But the 4 pounds of taco meat makes us about 7 to 8 bowls or meals for the week. Sometimes less, sometimes more. Really just kind of depends how I end up weighing it out that week. I will give myself about 7 to 8 ounces, and then I'll give Simon about 8 to 9 ounces, sometimes 10. And you gotta remember, the green peppers are a part of that weight. So if you're trying to get 6 ounces of meat, you wanna put a little bit extra because you do have these green peppers changing that weight as well, just to make sure you get what you need. All right, so coconut oil is melted for the green peppers. I'll take my bowl, pop them in. We have a lot of spatulas. And as long as you're not using it on raw meat, like I can reuse this whenever I finally go to make my omelets. So with the green peppers, I think I am going to do a little bit of pepper on peppers. And then I have lots of objects. And then I think I'm just going to put some garlic powder. You don't need to put any meat or salt on this. Garlic powder is something I use an abundance of. I really like the flavor of garlic. Probably why, part of the reason we like Mexican flavors a lot. Let's see. I'm just gonna put those in there. I'm gonna cover it. I have 4 of these bowls sitting here, these meal prep bowls for our omelets when we get there. I don't make a whole week worth of omelets at a time because it takes a little bit to do it, and you don't necessarily need it. I will make Simon a whole week if I am traveling for the whole week, but then I'm not making them for myself, so it kind of balances out. But like I said, I prefer to make 1 omelet at a time versus a whole pan. It just cooks better, and like I said, it takes a little bit of time, but there's so many things going on in the kitchen right now that it makes up for it. So I'm gonna put the garlic powder away. One of the Instant Pots just went off, so I just want to show you what that looks like. So the Instant Pot, you see it went off. The chicken is done, it went off. So now I'm just going to let it naturally release. So that's until this little float valve right here goes down on its own. I'll show you what it looks like if you decide to do it yourself. Loud noise, steam, not a big deal. But the chicken will be the most tender if it naturally releases. Here you can see this one actually was set up for keep warm, which is fine, but it's done, so it's got 20 minutes of keeping warm. I will actually go ahead and get this rice out and show you what it looks like, because the peppers are going and we can always be doing something. Alright, so I just used half a cup. This little guy should have came with your Instant Pot. It's a rice spoon. You can use a regular one if you don't have it. I'm just going to move this to venting, and it already naturally released, so that was easy enough. Turn it off. You're going to have all of this condensation on the side. If you didn't know, the handle will hold your lid. How amazing. That was the best thing. I think Jay Lynch told me that, or maybe I already knew it, but she just had found it out. so then I posted it on the page. So here's the rice, and as I use this spoon, you can see how it kind of gets stuck. It's sticky rice. So I gotta use 2 hands. Gotta have this guy. This bowl's hot. But I really just use this to kind of release it and get it fluffy. Whew, feel the steam. And then we're going to put it into my taco bowls. So don't really need that. So I do half a cup. So this is going in, yep, the little guys. So this was 2 cups of rice, dry, and I'm putting half a cup cooked in the bowl, and this is all that's left. And I probably undermeasured whenever I was putting in the bowls. So that was right spot on with what I needed. This is the moment that I would use my finger and eat the rice out of here, but I won't since I'm on video today. I used this guy to then break up the rice in the bowls, just to flatten them out so that when we put the taco meat on it, the rice will soak up any of the liquid. It actually makes it really tasty. And then anything that's left, I just evenly distribute. Some of these do look like they have less than others, just because I'm not doing it perfectly. But you get the point. That's all she wrote. This inner pot that's what this metal thing is called, from the Instant Pot, is machine washable. The dishwasher's already going, so I'm gonna just put it back in the Instant Pot just to get it out of the way. But you can see here now, so that was 2 cups of dried rice. Each of these have about half a cup prepared, so I made myself 5 of those for the week. I think Simon also gets half a cup of rice. We have it pre-measured on our templates that we use, of what tells us what we can have, and so he gets a little bit more on some things because obviously, and then I get a little bit less. But I think our rice is about the same. So these green peppers for the spaghetti are still a little crunchy. We'll let them saute just a little bit longer and check on the taco bowls. Always open that up away from you, or you're gonna get some hot steam in your face. Alright, so this is pretty brown now. Got a little bit left to go. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show it to you, and then what I'm going to do is add the green peppers to it. I just kind of let those set on top to get steam, and then add a cup of water. Sometimes add a little bit more, just kind of depends. Let me show you what this looks like. So you can see that looks really good, and I'm hungry, so it looks extra good right now. So I'm going to turn this to low so I can let it simmer. I'm going to add a cup of water. I'll let you know if I add more. I think I'm only going to add a cup. If you look on the packet, it tells you to add, I think, like 1 cup of water per 1 pound of meat, but I feel like it makes it really soggy, and I don't like that, so I don't do that. That looks pretty good. Basically, I add enough water that it looks almost, kind of looks wet, but not like it's sitting in water. Alright, so I'm going to be done with this now. Get a clean one for when I need to mix it again. Take my green peppers, just kind of put them on top. Again, I want these to be a little bit soft, but not soggy. Very fine line with that. And then we're going to cover this and just let it sit. I would say it needs to sit for at least 10 minutes. I'll probably let it sit longer. What I do is I'll let it sit, and then I'll come back and mix the green peppers in and then let it sit more, uncover, kind of let it cool and thicken, and then I'll move it to the bowls. Alright, I think these green peppers are probably done to the point that I want them anyway. So again, these are for the spaghetti bowls I'm making. Show you kind of what it looks like. So you see here, I don't know if you can tell what the texture is, but you can see some of them are soft, some of them are still crunchy, but it's just enough. And then I'll turn you around, and then we're gonna add this to our spaghetti bowls, the pasta sauce, and then we'll be done with those. Alright, so this was 2 large green peppers. If you are in the freezer section, there's bagged frozen green peppers, pre-cut, ready to go. I use 1 bag per 5 of these. So if I were to make like double this, then I would need 2 bags, and I cook them at the same time. This looks like it's a good amount. But this is really just to make sure you're getting your veggie. People forget about that. So I always say have something green. So that's good. And then we're gonna go with our pasta sauce. It's not been opened yet. Just use a spoon. I do like, this is really just by hand, nothing fancy, but I just do 5 spoonfuls per container. You'll have a little bit of this left over, so if you really need to add some of it throughout the week, you can, but you do not need a ton of this. And this is the chunky garden vegetable, so I'm doing 5 spoonfuls per container, and then the spaghetti will be done. We know our rice is done. Oops, making a mess. Gotta be, I'm not very okay with messes, but you gotta be okay with messes when you're cooking. The rice is done. Chicken just needs shredded. I'll go to my resident chicken shredder of the house here in a second. That would be Simon. I did see where my friend Emma used her KitchenAid to shred chicken. If I wasn't sure how it would end up with my hand mixer, then I would do it for you, but I wanted to try that first before I show you. Alright. You can see there's a little bit left. Just put that in the fridge. But here is our, I need to wipe this off. Here are our spaghetti bowls. So you can see, green peppers, we've got the gluten-free fettuccine, the pre-cooked turkey meatballs, and then our no sugar added pasta sauce. So I got 5. So I lay them out so that whenever I'm done, they can just cool on their own, because I really try hard not to put the lids on until it's cool. I'm gonna wipe this off. So I made a mess. And I'm gonna get our first omelet going. Alright. So for the omelets, we need our egg whites. So buy them in the container. You can make them yourselves if you want. And then I said something green. We're gonna use the rest of the spinach. We go to peppers if we need to. And then I think I'm actually gonna put, I think I said some meat. You don't need meat, but we're gonna do it this week. So I'm gonna put this uncured diced ham in it, just a little bit, and then spinach, and then we have egg whites. So we normally would do potatoes at the same time, but this week, I already have some ready to go. I'll show you. I put that on the page earlier, but I had cooked them and I cooked the whole bag, and then I just went ahead and pre-divided them in these little containers and put them in the fridge. So normally I would do that, but this week we're actually going to put them in these burritos. So we're gluten-free. We're not gluten-free, but it's okay if you are. But that's all that was at the store. Because apparently people don't care about buying gluten-free. So we're going to have burritos this week. So normally we would do 1.25 cups of egg whites, but we're just going to do a cup since I'm going to put the ham in. The 1.25 cups is only if that's all the protein that's on our plate. But we're going to do a cup, and we're just going to do a cup since we're going to do the ham as well. Need to get a plate out to hold this. I'm going to use the same pan I used for the green peppers because why not? Go ahead and put that on a little bit over medium, and I just use a handful of this green spinach. So just enough to kind of coat it. Put that in there first to let it cook down, and then I'll get my egg whites pre-measured, ready to go. So we need to do a cup. So I put them in my measuring cup, and then I put salt and pepper. We do not use cheese. If you want to use cheese, you can, but we do not. Just put a little bit of salt and pepper. I think I can turn this fan down now. Wonder how many times I've heated up my coffee during this. I think this is number 3. Alright, we're going to go ahead and stir up the taco meat while my spinach starts. So you can see, if you haven't learned anything, be looking for what you can do when you're just standing around. It makes the meal prep go a lot faster. We're really almost done. We're only an hour and 15 minutes in. So now I'm mixing in my green peppers with the meat. All my meat is cooked. That's not a concern. I used a clean spatula because I wanted to make sure I wasn't mixing in the raw food. I'm not a professional cook or anything, but we haven't gotten sick yet, so I would recommend this. I'm gonna turn the heat off and just let that thicken. All right, so the spinach, you can kind of hear when it's ready for other things to be added. This is another thing you want to make sure you do not burn. It's very easy to burn. You can open up this ham. So it says, I haven't bought this in a while. I really just bought it because there was nothing else at the store. It says serving size is 2 ounces. I think I'm just going to put a little bit. Kind of use your best judgment. I'll show you how much you put in. Break it up. Bless you. Simon just sneezed. So there's the ham, the spinach, and then I take my egg whites. Remember, I said we're doing a cup since we have that ham in there. You just want to make sure you get enough protein. And now it's cooking. We cook that on medium, and then what I usually do is I go ahead and get my next 1 cup measured of egg whites. We go through a lot of egg whites. Open up a new one. So we're doing 1 cup. Just let this sit out. And then I'll put the salt and pepper on it. Alright. Simon, you ready to shred some chicken?
Sure.
Alright. So that's cooking. Now we're going to go get the chicken out of the Instant Pot. Let me make sure it's ready to go. So I did have to do some manual release. That wasn't that bad though. Could have been worse. So basically you just need a big bowl. I will try this bowl that I washed. If you're doing it by hand, whoops. So if you're doing it by hand, you just need a big bowl and 2 forks and someone to do it for you. Or you can do it yourself, but this is my least favorite part, so Simon usually does it. So I went ahead and released any pressure that was left. I'm going to get 2 big old forks, and I'll put the chicken in the bowl, and then Simon will shred it. I really don't want you to see all the dirty dishes, but this is real life. So again, this is going to have a lot of moisture on it. So just be careful when you're pulling it out. All the steam. And then put it in your little handy dandy holder. So it's going to fall apart pretty easily. So you might actually fall apart some before you get it out. This is doing pretty good. You want to shred it when it's hot. You do not want to wait for it to cool down. It'll just be a lot harder on you. All right. Like that. There you go.
Yeah.
This is Simon. This is him shredding
One
chicken.
job. Got one job.
His other job is snapping beans. But we don't do that as much anymore. I really just buy the frozen broccoli or like canned green beans. Just because he really hated snapping beans. But he's really good at shredding the chicken.
Yeah.
Thank you for your help. Okay, while he finishes that, my omelet starts cooking. Now it's time for the broccoli to go in the microwave. So really just have these bags, frozen bags of broccoli. I think you can do more than one at a time. So we're gonna test that out right now. I've never really done it.
Did you meal prep for the dogs yet?
Did I meal prep for the dogs?
Yeah,
no, they ate already.
No, that's what
So on high for 5 to 6 minutes. I'm just gonna place these in here. That's 2 bags, 5 to 6 minutes. Again, I always do right in the middle, so we'll do 5.5. I'm gonna get one of these bowls ready for the broccoli to come out, because when it comes out, it's just kind of sitting in water in there, and so I'll put it in a bowl and season it, let it sit for a minute, and then I'll put it in the meal prep containers. Hey Simon.
Yeah.
Stoli, well she did, but then she threw up this morning, so she might need to eat again. Stoli is our husky. She has her own personality. Bella, do you want to say hi? This is Bella. Come here, Bellas. Hi. Can you sit? Bella. No, she's a little confused because there's food. Oh, good girl. Good girl. Hello. Stoli. There's the husky. She's gonna go eat. She's very beautiful. Alright, so the dogs are eating. Now we've got the chicken. I'm gonna get my food scale and go ahead and measure out the chicken for, oh, why did I do that? Wrong one. Check on our omelet. Don't want to forget about that. I can actually probably get another omelet going, but we'll do that after I measure out the chicken. So this is the food scale I have. It's Cuisinart, I think is how you say that. It's got this little like stand on top, and it came with this. So I used to use this a lot whenever I was measuring out meat, and then I would put in a container, and then I realized, oh, you can just put the meal prep container on this, and it's a lot easier. So if you're measuring out like something that's hard to keep in a bowl, if you want like sweet potatoes or something, or whatever, this works nicely. But like I said, I think this was only like 15-20 bucks from Bed Bath & Beyond, so go get yourself a food scale. Oh, excuse me, Stole. pushed it in the way. All right. So I'm gonna make some adjustments. All right, so food scale, container, zero it out. I'll need 1 fork. And we're gonna go to town and measure it. So, oh, you know what I forgot to do, y'all? I forgot to put the Walden Farms marinade on it. Pause. Alright, so like I said, I don't have the actual container it came in because I broke it, or I broke the lid. So I put it in here to keep it until I needed it. But this is a Walden Farms. I think it was like a something lime marinade vinaigrette. I can't remember. But Walden Farms, all of their sauces and marinades are 0 calories, zero pretty much everything. So you can use that. If you just want to use hot sauce afterward, that's fine too. If you have a marinade you like and you don't really care about it having a couple calories in it, go for it. I don't care. So this is about half of the container. I used half of it last week. So I'm just gonna mix it up. This was really good. I really liked it. It was a surprise. Now I'll show you what it looks like. And there we have it. So you can see it all mixed in. Nope, that's fine. All right.
Alexa,
I said it was fine. Can you turn it back on? Probably not. Can you turn my music off? Now I'll just work in silence. Okay. So, just gonna put it in here. I just put it off to one side. Again, this is for dinner, so I'm not gonna have a carb with it. So we'll have chicken and broccoli. It's kind of your classic meal prep food. I'm not sure how many of these it's gonna get me, but we'll see. So that's at 7 1/8. I think that's plenty. Like I said, I like to have it between 6 and 8. So we're just measuring it out. We're doing this while the broccoli cooks in the microwave. If you wanted to do it in your Instant Pot, you can. I just kind of got tired of having to clean it constantly. That's 7 1/4. Make sure your scale is zeroed out if you change between meal prep containers. What's up, Brian? Happy Sunday.
Randy.
Pardon?
Randy.
Who's Ryan D?
Ryan.
Ryan Kirk.
Oh, right.
We really don't need to meal prep like this today because we're quarantined for a while, but I don't mind it. And it keeps us on track. If you have the food prepared, it's a lot easier to stay on track because you're like, oh, I'll make it. I'm home every night. But then you get home or you're done what you're doing and it's time for dinner and you really don't want to make anything. So it's just easier for you to stay on track if you've got it made for you. So kind of like what happened with the rice. Got a little bit left over. Wasn't enough to make a whole nother meal. So I'm just evenly dividing it between the 4. So I got 4 chicken out of that. I'm gonna eat like. Alright, here's my chicken. So I'm gonna leave the scale here. These are waiting on the taco meat. These are waiting on broccoli. These here are done. And I need to get more containers for Simon's taco bowls. Man, that's good. Time check, we're at 1.5 hours. And we're really almost done, y'all. Okay. So I'm gonna get this other omelet started. We just have a lot of pans. I'm gonna take my taco meat over, because it's done, over to the station where I'm putting them in the meal prep containers. Hey, will you do me a favor, please? Can you move the spaghetti ones onto that table so I have some room? Thank you. Okay. Gonna stir this omelet up. It's pretty much done. And then we're gonna get started on the other one. So again, I'm putting some coconut oil in the pan. You can use spray or whatever you like. That's just what I like. Turn it on medium. This omelet is done, so I'm gonna put it in the container and I'll show you what it looks like. You don't wanna overcook it. And it's okay if it's like, if you think, oh, it could benefit from 30 seconds in the microwave. Well, when you heat it up, it's gonna have some time in the microwave. So it makes sense. So here is omelet number 1. Beautiful. Set that over there. Get started. Again, I said I'm making 4 of these, so I need to do 3 more. I'm gonna have something to do this week. My broccoli is also done, but I'm letting it just sit in the microwave for a second. Get this coconut oil. Also need a couple more meal prep containers for Simon. If you don't have this many meal prep containers to cook for 2 people for a week, I'll link a couple on the site that you can find on Amazon for not a lot of money, and it's really helpful if you have these in regular sizes. So once I run out of my like usual ones, we kind of get to these odd ones. So I have like this one that is circular. It works. We've got a couple of these like square ones, so that'll work. I think that'll be enough, but we'll see. So coconut oil is ready to go. So again, for the breakfast omelet, I'm just doing spinach. We do like green pepper as well. I really shouldn't feel like cutting up any more green peppers. And I feel like we need to use this up. So I'm gonna do that. And then once it's ready for a little bit more, then we'll go ahead and add the ham. So let's get the broccoli out of the microwave. So here's our broccoli. Again, this is going with my chicken dinner. Knives are good if you don't have any. If you don't have scissors. We're putting this in a bowl before we put it in the meal prep containers so we can put some seasoning on it. But again, if you're not 100% sure how much seasoning to use, just do what you think. Be on the conservative side, and then when it's actually time to eat, you can add some salt and pepper. So if you missed it, we just used steamer bags for broccoli. This is all about just making the meal prep experience easy and quick, but still tastes good. So I'm going to do seasoned salt and pepper on the broccoli. How I decide what seasoning I want to use, I just take a guess what I'm in the mood for. Looks like my spinach is ready for some additions. The way I add seasoning is I do it on the top and then I'll mix it in and then I'll do it again. So let's go ahead and add some stuff to the spinach. You don't want it to get overcooked or burned. Again, I'm adding some uncured diced ham from Kroger's healthy brand of Simple Truth. It doesn't need to be cooked, so, well, it's already cooked, so that's why I'm not cooking it beforehand. If you wanted to do like a turkey sausage, you just want to make sure it's cooked before you add it into your omelet. So again, I have my pre-measured 1 cup of egg whites with salt and pepper. Add that into one. We'll go ahead and do the other one. Again, normally we would do 1.25 cups because that's what's prescribed on what we used for our meal template. But because we have the ham, which does have some protein, I'm not don't want to overdo it. All right, so we got that. I'm pretty sure I haven't stood around once during this last hour and a half. So that's good news if you're meal prepping on how quickly you can get through this. You know what, y'all? I think the broccoli might need a couple more minutes because I did 2 bags at a time. All right, that's okay. I put it into a microwavable bowl, so I'm just going to put it back in the microwave with a little cover on it. We'll do a minute. All right, I said I need 1 more omelet, so I'm doing 4. So that'll get us through Monday and Tuesday. Down my egg whites. Get a little salt, a little pepper. So the 4th one will be ready to go. So while that's cooking, let's go and measure out our taco bowls. So I use a spoon that has like a strainer spoon so that if there is excess liquid, it doesn't get into the bowls. It doesn't really matter for mine, but with Simon, we don't put rice because this is his dinner, where mine's my lunch. So for lunch, the carbs are okay, but for dinner, you don't want them. So if you have a lot of excess liquid at the bottom, that just kind of is weird. All right, I'm gonna move my chicken over. My sous chef, he moved the finished food over there. So we'll start with mine, since we got some pre-measured rice ready to go. So zero it out. So this is where I was saying earlier, we'll probably do about 9, I don't know, maybe 8 ounces for me. And I use these smaller meal prep containers because even if I didn't have a scale, it's not gonna let me put too much in here. And then that helps proportion it. Whereas if you're just eating on a plate, it's really easy to overfill it. So this has 8.5 ounces of our taco meat in it, which is good. You can see it's completely full. I've got the 1/2 cup of cooked rice and then 8.5 ounces of the taco meat, which is ground turkey and peppers, and it's filled. I might be able to get 1 more ounce in there, but I'm not gonna try. So now, what I usually do, so I gotta re-zero it each time because the amount of rice might be a little bit different. But what I do is I try to match the ounces that I did in the first one. So we're gonna do try to get 8.5 ounces in here. I try to make sure I'm grabbing a hold of some of the meat and I'm not just getting all peppers, and vice versa, I'm getting peppers, not all meat. That's 8 3/8, sounds good. The important thing is that we're following a recipe. We're trying to get a certain amount of ounces, but you can't be so particular with exactly how many ounces you're getting or exactly how long it took for me to let it just sit on the stove and get some flavor. You gotta be okay with just letting it go, changing it up, feeling it out. Otherwise, you'll be here all day. Well, that's a little too much. That's almost 9 ounces, but that's okay. I think I got some extra peppers in that one. These taco balls are our favorite thing. We do not get tired of them. It is on the menu every week. I know exactly how to make it, and it's really easy. It's just something that we don't get tired of eating. We do get tired of eating stuff like chicken and broccoli, and you know, the omelets were changing up this week a little bit, which I actually need to go check on those. But as far as this, like I said, I've been making it every week for like a year and a half. Okay, I've got my 5 filled out. I'm still gonna do Simon's, but we need to check on the omelets. This is why it's important to make sure that you got your head on a swivel. You don't want to forget about it, because then you can burn it and then it's be nasty. Woo. This one's almost done. I let them cook flat, and then I just kind of use my spatula to kind of move them around and mix them up. And then they become more of like a scramble, not really an omelet, but it's still the same concept. I mean, you got ingredients inside of some type of egg, right? So it's just not flat and pretty like an omelet. But you're gonna eat it anyway, so what's the matter? Alright, so this one's done. She done. I'm gonna put this one here. We eat the same amount of food at breakfast. The only difference is that Simon will have more carbs than I do. So if I have potatoes already in here, then I do make sure that they're separated out as far as whose is whose. But for this, like I said, I have pre-measured potatoes in the fridge, or Simon's gonna make a burrito, breakfast burrito. So it doesn't matter. You know, the protein of the vegetables is all the same. If you saw you can tell by the taco meat and like the chicken and stuff. I know exactly whose is who there. And then I put them on different shelves in the fridge, because sometimes Simon will grab my food. And then I'll be like, wow, that wasn't a lot of food. Well, it's because it was meant for me. Alright, this one was also done. So we have one more omelet left to go. And then I got to get the broccoli. Alright, so first thing is first. I think I probably need to put a little bit more coconut oil this time. You don't have to grease it every time, but you want to make sure that it stays pretty well coated. Alright, I think this broccoli's good. And again, this is pre-cooked broccoli that was frozen, so it's not perfect. Whatever, we're gonna have to reheat it anyway. So I'm putting more pepper and seasoned salt on it. This is one thing that I never put enough salt on, but I just don't want to over salt it because it'll ruin it. But I feel like I still put a fair amount on there. So I've got it all mixed up. So once I get this omelet going, the taco bowl's finished, then we'll separate the broccoli into the chicken bowls. Looks like a lot of broccoli for 4 meals. But if you're not having a carb, you want a lot of vegetable with it. You need to have a lot of vegetables anyway, but it really won't feel as much as it may seem. Alright, so last omelet. We got spinach. Let that cook down. I'm done with the seasoned salt. Our pork is going over here. We've got about 6.5 hours because that's meant for dinner. We're done with the coconut oil. We're in the home stretch. And now we're gonna go finish measuring out the taco bowls. And then I will clean, but you will not have to be here for that. Okay, so all my taco bowls are done. Again, it's about 8.5 ounces per container. Now we're gonna do Simon. And we still got a good bit of meat here. That's probably too much. Alright, so I think I'm going to give him about 11.5 ounces. Because again, he's got to have enough protein, but you also want to make sure that you're accounting for the green peppers that are in there. So he's going to get about 11.5 ounces. See how many we can get. And if there's leftovers, then I give him a little bit more. Another way that you can add some crunch into this are tortilla chips. So I buy yellow corn tortilla chips from Kroger. You can get blue corn, you can get, flour tortillas, whatever floats your boat. And then you can add those in for some crunch when you eat them. So we like to do that as well. I think I might be able to get him 4 of these. I hope that's too much. Alright. He's gonna get one of these little baby guys, but there's no carb in here, so I should be able to get 11.5. One reason why it's important to make sure that you have meal prep containers is because if you are putting this all in like one big container and pulling from it throughout the week, the oxygen getting into it is really what is ruining the food quicker. So your food will go bad faster. If you have it sealed and you just open it when you're ready to eat it, then it'll last longer. You can probably, like all of this, we could eat it probably into like middle of next week if we wanted to. So there's a little bit left here. That last one I gave Simon had probably like 12 ounces. So I'm just gonna top off each of his with a little bit more. Might put a little bit more on mine. Maybe I'll take a bite. Show you these taco bowls. So you can see I did out of the 4 pounds of meat and 4 peppers, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I probably could have made a 10 if I really wanted to, but I topped off Simon's food instead with just a little bit more because I felt like it. But that was really easy. I mean, that's the easiest thing I make, and 4 pounds of ground turkey goes a really long way. So definitely recommend, if you like it, adding it into your normal routine. So I'm going to switch these back up. I got to put the broccoli in with the chicken. Got 4 of those. At the end of this, I'll show you exactly how much we made. Oh, you know what? We got to do something with the omelet. Don't want our spinach to burn. It was on its way. So put some ham. Again, I'm using this uncured, pre-cooked diced ham. Says it's 95% fat-free. Sounds good to me. So then we'll seal this bad boy up, put it in the fridge. Cup of egg whites with salt and pepper. Get that going. And then we'll go back to our broccoli. Let's see, I think I want to use this spoon. Drink my coffee. Alright, turning back around. It's a little quicker. So this was 2 bags of frozen broccoli. I guess I should have grabbed a strainer spoon. 1 sec. Strainer spoon. Because it does cook, or present a lot of water once it cooks. So this was 2 bags of cooked broccoli. We put they were steamer bags. Put some seasoned salt and pepper, and I'm just putting this in with my chicken. What I usually do is I don't fill it up at first. I just make sure I can put the same amount in each one, and then same thing with like the meat and like the chicken and rice. Once I have extra, then I go back and evenly divide it. I do not measure out the broccoli because it really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure you have a good amount. I tell you, not having carbs at night though, we don't do it every day. I mean, we're not perfect, but when we prep, it really helps with making me just feel better, not feel too full. I don't wake up starving. It doesn't seem like that much food when you first start, but you get used to it. There we go. So we'll look here. Got the chicken and broccoli. You can see it's all very full with the broccoli. Good amount. Pre-seasoned chicken. Got all these taco bowls. Got 1 more omelet. And then we'll be done. Yep. So let me show you what we've got while my omelet's cooking. So behind me I've got, again, this, please ignore the gingerbread. I haven't put all my Christmas stuff away. Fettuccine. We have gluten-free pasta, fettuccine, pre-cooked turkey meatballs with green peppers and no sugar added pasta sauce. So you can see we've got 5 of these right here. This is going to be Simon's lunch for the week. Then we go over here. We've got the pulled chicken with the broccoli. This has Walden Farms. I think it's like cilantro, lime, vinaigrette or something, but 0 calorie kind of sauce on it. And I probably won't add anything to it because it's good the way it is. There's 4 here. I used 4 chicken breasts for these chicken. Didn't really actually weigh what they were beforehand, but this is going to be my dinner for the week. So we got 4 of them ready to go. And then we've got our taco bowls. So these 5 are my lunch for the week because they have the rice in the bottom. But it's the ground turkey with the taco seasoning and green peppers. And then these 4 are Simon's dinner. And then we've got 3 omelets. And we've got 1 more cooking. So let's see. So here it is. Again, once it kind of cooks up a little flat, I just mix it together. It's not actually an omelet 'cause it's not flat. It's more like a scramble, but an egg white scramble, but get the point. And then over here we have our pork cooking with seasoning on it. So it is gonna be pulled pork, and then I'm gonna make some asparagus in the oven for that. But that's really it. So I just have this 1 omelet to finish up, and then I'm done. And then I just get to clean. But I did try to clean as I went. I don't think there's anything I would have done differently. because we both have dinner for the week except Friday night, which we usually will do something, and then we have lunch every day for the week, and then we have breakfast for the next 2 days. So the only thing I'll have to make during the week is breakfast for Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So probably on Tuesday I'll make a couple more and then go from there. But this was really, this was inexpensive. I think probably all of this cost maybe $30 or less. I'm trying to think of what we buy at the grocery store. Our usual grocery bill is about $75 a week, but we buy other things besides just the meal prep food. So it's really not that bad. If you have any questions, let me know, but thanks for watching.